I'm going to give a quick demo on how to get some, how to see some data, some binary data come out of the TI SensorTag. A couple things up front. One thing is that there's this thing called the wiki page for the TI SensorTag. It's a wiki page for the user's guide, and in there is a, if you go down, you'll see some identifications of UUIDs. And there's a base UUID here that gets masked with the UUIDs for the different elements of the sensors. The data element of the sensor and also a configuration element of the sensor. It's very simple. We write to the configuration element of the sensor. We write a 1 to make the sensor come alive, and then a 0 to put it to sleep. And then we listen to the data element and we get the data. The other thing to look at is there's a document here that you can pull down. The Bluetooth low energy SensorTag gate server, and in here also there's information about the different UUIDs. So if we bounce down here and we look at the accelerometer, which is the one I'll do for the demo. There's an accelerometer AA10, and within the AA10 there's an AA11 for the data element. There's an AA12 for the config element. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with those two to show data coming in. The tool I'm going to use is something called Light Blue. It's an app that I pulled off the web. This light blue is very simple, but it'll be acting as the Bluetooth central role, and then my sensor, of course, is the Bluetooth peripheral role. So it's not showing anything if I scan. If I click the SensorTag button, then I see the SensorTag show up in the list of peripherals. If I click on the peripherals, then I start to see these UUIDs. And if we go back to here, back to the document, then the UUID for the config for the accelerometer is AA12, which comes under the AA10 service. So we go back to light blue and we look for AA10, and then from AA10 we can see AA11, 12, and 13. 12 is the config, and 11 is the data. So the data is 0. No matter how I orient the device around, the data is always 0. Even if I subscribe to it, the data is 0. So let me go to the config, and instead let me try to write a 1 in the config to turn the sensor on. Okay. And then let me read that back and make sure that it's changed. It's changed. And now when I look at the data, we see that the data is changing because the sensor is active, and now we're getting hex data back. The accelerometer uses 3 bytes to identify the X, the Y, and the Z. Depending on how you orient this, you're going to get different values for this 3-byte value here that we see. So there's 3 bytes for that. If I then go back to the config and I write a 00 to that config, and I go back to the data, it is 0, and there's no more data that's coming out. Okay. So there's a quick demo on how to get how to use a simple Bluetooth central role program, this one called Light Blue, to actually configure and read data from the TI SensorTag.